How are you? Thank you so very much for coming to our program here at Woodbridge Library. And our guest speaker tonight is Phil Mendelson. Hello, Phil. How are you? You're not late. You're not late. We got to do a quick interview with you before you go in. Would you come right over here?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm fine. It's good to see you. Well, here is the wonderful, greatest chairperson in the world, Phil Mendelson.
Well, that's awfully kind.
And we have been waiting for you, and we love you. And there's so many people here just waiting to see you, to hear what you have to say, just to see your smiling face. And here you are. Can you just say a few words?
Well, with the council's about to get back into the fall session, looking forward to that. Congress is beating up on us, not looking forward to that. As we're speaking, we're on the eve of the Trump emergency being lifted. That's good. I think it's not the end of the mischief, and we just have to hold ourselves together and do what we can to protect home rule.
Okay, well, we don't want you to tell us too much about what you've been doing, but here's our mayor forever, Bob King. Hey, Bob.
Hey, how you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
How you doing?
Okay.
Let me, first I want to salute you before you interview us. And interview PIC Television and the dream of the Capitol Hill View TV.
Thank you.
Outstanding. You can't, when you're recording something, this is history. We have we got Eleanor, we have the mayor. And then we have the chairman, the third highest ranking folks in there. We got a multitude of people in that town. Don't try to count, chairman, because you won't be able to count.
Okay.
Okay.
But I want to get in there, so.
Well, you just they going to Hazel's doing some stuff. You got to do this little piece because you're gonna come inside. I want to just say on behalf of the Ward 5 Leadership Council, in February 18, 2024, 2023, the common thread that brought us together, Elaine, was that we had 3 council members in Ward 5. Councilmember Barnes, Councilmember Parker, and McDuffie. And the purpose of bringing them together is hold them accountable to how they spend the taxpayers' money in Ward 5. Ward 5 has the highest number of registered Democrats, second highest registered voters only to Ward 6. We intend in 2026 to block the leaf pass of resistance to candidates coming into Ward 5 thinking they're going to get a free pass. I know this chairman, we go back as ANC commissioners. Back in the day, we used to battle and see who would get 1,000 votes from across the city. I admire his leadership. Right after him, McDuffie's gonna come here, Robert White's gonna come here, Anita Barnes is gonna come here. All of them are gonna have to come here, and some of them will have to sing for their supper. Some of them will have a seat at the table. No more free pass in Ward 5. What you're gonna hear from the chairman today, you're going to hear the supplemental budget that he's going to talk about sometime in October. You know they're going to vote on the stadium. I think when they come back here on the 17th, they have to come up with a 13% pay raise for the police. And then we got to talk about the federal outreach and the military takeover in our city. And this chairman has been in the forefront of that. So the people are waiting for him. All that have ears in Ward 5, I want y'all to listen to the chairman of the city council, none other than Honorable Phil Mendelson. Go inside, fasten your seatbelt, chairman, and don't be afraid of the trembling from the.
Ward 5's tough. I can take it.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, let me lead you the way. Goodbye.
Okay, let's go.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
We want you to sign in just like a regular person.
Okay.
The mayor, the council chair, and our courageous, Brian Schwab is a courageous district attorney. Brian is not afraid to go with the well and in the lion's den. And so with that, Mike, so good to see our good friend Phil has arrived. Chairman Mendelson has arrived.
Thank you, Bob. The
chairperson for housing, they're co-chairs. Sandy Washington is not able to be with us this evening, but Racine Woodland is here, and would you like to say a few words?
No, because I'm actually my questions.
Okay. What's happening together, this community benefits package for Providence Hospital. And at this point, and this is just the beginning, we have a $5 million. And that started with the economic development. Give them a round of applause. And since all of you are community and civic leaders, he will be reaching out to the people who are near Providence and the people who are there in the community to work together to get the facts that we can for the foundation. Thank you. Now, what we're going to do is Bob is going to, to introduce and present our council member, and he's also going to do the questions. First on our agenda will be the area that we will discuss. Oh my God, it's not there. The first thing is the federal takeover.
As Hazel has said, our fearless leader has arrived, and I told him outside that don't worry about counting nobody in here because there's a multitude in here that nobody can count. Just come on in here and fasten the seatbelt. You ready for chairman?
Yeah.
I'm ready for some turbulence?
I was
no
ready.
Turbulence.
Been ready.
Okay. All right. Let's give the chairman a round of applause. Okay, chairman. What do you want? Up there at the podium.
Okay.
Elaine, does he have a mic up there?
I'll hold it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah. So you wanted me to start by talking about what's going on with Congress.
Yeah, I think the agenda is right here, the first item.
Okay,
yes.
now I have to put my glasses on.
Where's the mic?
So I am, like you all, very concerned about what's going on with the federal government in the District of Columbia.
Get the people out here to talk.
Members of the council are very concerned that we see increasing encroachments on home rule, and the bottom line is we want to protect home rule, that we do not want to see any erosion of our local authority. Tomorrow's not going to be a pretty day because the House Oversight Committee is going to mark up 13 bills, maybe 14 bills, all but one of which are an attack on the district and on our autonomy. And there's a lot of stuff in there that's really very harmful. Like one bill which proposes that any juvenile who is arrested, any juvenile who's arrested for a violent crime can be tried as an adult. A 14-year-old in adult prison makes no sense. That's one of the proposals. Another proposal is to eliminate our having an elected Attorney General, and instead the Attorney General would be appointed by the President of the United States without confirmation by the Senate. Not that it would be better if there was confirmation by the Senate, because as we've communicated to the Democrats, who we hope will defend this, we think will defend this tomorrow, an elected Attorney General is the closest we come to having a top legal officer of the city close to the community and more sensitive to what community values are and what issues are important to the community, such as housing conditions or consumer protection. There's one bill where they propose getting rid of what we call the IRA, which is the Incarceration Reduction Act. An individual who's been sentenced for, I think it's over 20 years or 25 years, after 15 years can petition the court to ask for a reduced sentence. It doesn't mean they'll get a reduced sentence. In fact, there haven't been a large number of people who've taken advantage of this, and of those who've applied, many of them have been denied. But in my view, what we want to do is make it as easy as possible for returning citizens to re-enter. We know that returning citizens have a challenge because of their criminal record. And so record sealing, which is another one of the bills that's being challenged to be overturned tomorrow, record sealing and the IRA, the Incarceration Reduction Act, are meant to help at the back end of the process. I've often said that there are very few ways we can be proactive about reducing crime, but one of the ways we can be proactive is looking at ways to reduce recidivism. That is, folks who return after having been sentenced and then reoffend because it's hard for them to get housing, it's hard for them to get a job. So these are the kind of measures that are up tomorrow. We expect that we're going to lose in the House Oversight Committee, but we're taking a long look at this. When I say we, I'm talking about the council. We've hired a firm to help us with congressional relations, and we are going to work as best we can to try to prevent these measures from passing the House, and work as best we can to prevent these measures, if they pass the House, from passing in the Senate. So that is our top priority. I think that's fair to say that's the top priority. Council members met with the mayor this morning. We're meeting more frequently, and we're trying to make sure that we are on the same page and that we present a unified front against these attacks from the White House or from the Capitol. And so I'm happy to answer questions on that in a couple of minutes. We do have our first legislative session next week, September 17th. And the two major items on the agenda are final reading, final vote on the RFK Stadium proposal, and also final reading or final vote on the Rental Act, which is a bill that tries to help with challenges that we've seen with rental properties in the city, as well as the Tenant Opportunity to Purchase Act, or First Right of Refusal. So that's coming up next week for final reading in RFK. I think we've gotten ourselves to a pretty good place as best we can with regard to the RFK Stadium. The mayor, as you know, presented a proposal that she had negotiated with the commanders. The council made it about $750 million better by getting the commanders to agree that we would get more of the tax revenues that are generated off of the site. There is, in connection with the stadium, substantial mixed-use development that will be built over the next, I'm going to say 15 years, including about 6,000 units of rental housing, of which roughly a third will be affordable. And affordable is defined in the law, different strands of the area median income. And as I said, there will be mixed use, so there will be retail and commercial there as well. The Commanders Stadium will be a stimulus for this other economic development, for full development of, this doesn't make sense the way I say it, a full development of a portion of the RFK campus. So those two measures, the Rental Act and the RFK Stadium, are coming up next week before the council. The mayor and I and the Attorney General are testifying before Congress the next day, that is on the 18th, and so we're getting ready for that testimony. I expect that the Oversight Committee, the Republicans expect that we're going to look like fools. We're going to do everything we can to make sure that we don't, because we don't look like fools. In fact, we have a pretty good story to tell about the district. The district is actually a beautiful place, and
Yes.
that reminds me that one of the effective strategies, I think, in counteracting the narrative and the actions by Donald Trump are social media, grassroots, that is, you all using social media to just post how there are great activities in the district, how beautiful the city is, how you feel about the district. That kind of grassroots narrative on social media can be heard across the country, and I think it's important that we get that narrative out there, that it's not just elected officials, the mayor, who of course is going to be the best salesman for the city, not just the mayor saying this is a great city, but you all, individual residents, saying this is a great city, and we don't need the National Guard, and we don't need ICE scaring everybody.
No.
And we also are not the most dangerous city in the United States, not even close. So the other thing I wanted to mention, and then take questions if that's okay, is about the budget. So the council, we got the budget 2 months late. We acted, our final vote was on July 28th with regard to the budget. I can't say it was pretty because our revenues have gone down, and a lot of that has to do with the federal government and its actions by laying off tens of thousands of employees. That reduces revenues in the city and economic activity. And then this latest crime spree. I'm going to call it a spree.
Where's this thing he
That
called?
is what Trump has created, is this spree of
They printed out the wrong
law
one.
enforcement officers and ICE and so forth, all of which has depressed our revenues. I think we're going to find this fall that the council and the mayor are going to have to revisit some economic issues, whether that's a supplemental budget or just our tax code, because I think we're going to find that what I have learned is called the OB3 bill. I'm not going to call it the one beautiful, it's the OB3 bill, that is actually going to cost us and all of the states in terms of revenue. And so we're going to have to make some adjustments this fall. In fact, I met with the mayor and the chief financial officer yesterday to begin to map out what we will do and to ensure that our budget is balanced and that we are not, and then that we are able to address any economic impacts from this OB3A. A stands for Act, this OB3 Act. So I'm happy to answer questions on any of that. I want to thank you all for being here, and with that, I'll take questions.
Okay, we're gonna, I don't have the handheld mic, but we're gonna start up, we'll move back and forth. But before I do that, let me recognize Garcia. Fine work. I watched your Facebook page, Over on the Hill, Statehood. Give him a round of applause. I think Angel Alston is out there, former ANC commissioner. And Pearl and Rip. Pearl, well, if you ever want somebody to do some interior decorate, call Pearl.
Amen.
And call Rip. So I'm telling you, stand up. That's Chairman. Yeah, stand up. Let's give him a round of applause. All right, let me just start. Let me start on this side, and I'm gonna work back and forth. Got a question for the chairman? Excuse me.
No, not right now.
Question for the chairman? Question for the chairman? What's wrong with y'all? What's with the chairman?
It's okay.
I have a question.
Oh, you have a question for the chairman?
There is confusion and anxiety in the city on whether or not our leaders are unified.
There's confusion and anxiety in the city about whether our leaders
There's confusion and anxiety in our city about whether or not our leaders are really going to be unified before the council, before the Congress next week. And I know where you are, I know where you stand, I know where the Attorney General stands. But I'm lost as to where our mayor stands. And I'm hoping that the three of you, when you all speak, that you speak on one accord on behalf of the people of the District of Columbia.
I'm confident that we will speak on one accord. I think that's the way you put it. It is true that the mayor made some remarks a couple weeks ago that left a lot of folks upset. The mayor's walking a very fine line. We're all mindful how much we want to antagonize the Republicans in the White House and in the Congress. At the same time, I believe strongly that we need to draw lines and defend ourselves and stand up. I strongly believe in that. This is why, as I mentioned a minute ago, the council has brought on a retained a firm to help us with congressional relations so that we, the council, are more directly involved in getting our message across and being clear that we want Democrats to stand by us. We'd like Republicans to stand by us, and in any event, to put out why what they're doing is harmful to the district. But as for next week, I am confident that the mayor and the attorney general and myself are going to be on the same page. We're going to talk about how good the district is and how crime doesn't warrant an emergency. And if they want to help us reduce crime, they can appoint our judges, or rather confirm our judges, so we don't have 20% vacancy rate in the courts. And if they want to help us reduce crime, they could better fund pretrial services, which is the one that supervises those who've been arrested who are on supervised release, and they can better fund CSOSA, who supervises those who have come out of prison, who need community, are supposed to have community supervision. Both CSOSA and pretrial services are underfunded. That will be part of my message next week, is better fund them, give them the resources they need, because that will help us. and give us more resources so that we can solve crimes more quickly. Because right now, on average, it takes 50% of homicides are not solved in a year. Well, let's solve them more quickly and give us some resources to help with that. If you, meaning members of Congress, want to complain about how we don't have enough police officers, we're at roughly 3,100, and when I chaired Judiciary, we were 3,800. Well, you could help us maybe with some more incentives for hiring. We right now give, as a signing bonus, $25,000. That's a lot of money. Secret Service gives $50,000. If you, member of Congress, want to help us, don't complain about how we don't have enough police and do nothing. Complain about how we don't have enough police and help us do something.
Okay.
So I think those will be our messages.
Recognize you for your question.
$1 billion.
Your question, Sasha's question, and third over here.
Well, we have the $1 billion. That's a longer story.
Let him.
My question is
You don't need the mic for him. Go ahead.
My question concerns economic development. I think that the proposed development of Providence Hospital and the proposed development of the RFK site, plus the additional land that you talked about, could be very transformative. And one of the things that always allows folks to build wealth in their communities is home ownership versus housing. And so I know that we need affordable housing, but I encourage the council to kind of look at long-term
I can't, because they be
benefits of providing at least some form of subsidy so that people can buy houses in that development.
Okay.
I agree, and I assume you all heard that. And this is part of what we've struggled with the budget cuts the last couple of years. Is some of the programs we have, like Home Purchase Assistance Program, have either seen reductions or have not been able to keep up with demand. We have a number of programs to try to help with home ownership, and we've just been struggling with our revenues, and it hasn't been helped by the federal actions that are depressing revenues going forward.
Thank you. Sasha?
So I'm going to touch on a couple of points and then ask my question. My first point is we keep on speaking on this rhetoric about decrease in the budget, but our income, the property taxes have increased and has been on a continuous increase the last 5-year trajectory, right? And so that's income. There's been several not even the speed cams, but cameras throughout the district that has also generated a significant amount of income. So I do understand the reduction in the budget that comes from the decrease from federal funds, but there are funding that we are just not taking into consideration. So I just want to put that out there. But my question, and of what I find is most concerning, is our youth that we have in the district. It seems that we have a more reactive instead of proactive response to our youth. And so my question is, because I think this invasion upon the district's territory is actually a pro in that it allows the council to sit down and to actually think about effective plans. So I would like to know what the council has been doing in these small committees to be more proactive to supporting our children so that we don't have to worry about
All right.
Absolutely.
So let me remember all the points that just went through my head. There are a lot of programs that we have for youth. Now, are we doing it as well as we should? Probably not. But we spend a lot of money on the Department of Parks and Recreation. That's youth-oriented. We're spending a lot of money on schools, public education. That's surely youth-oriented. We look at other programs like what we call out-of-school time programming. That's absolutely youth-oriented. I do know that the demand for some of these programs is greater than what we're actually funding. And I also think I'm of a view that some of these programs are not as well run for the dollars that we're putting in. But we do have a lot of programs for youth. And then on the back end, meaning those juveniles who get in trouble, we, the council, have been pushing the mayor to be more proactive. Joe, you know what I'm talking about here, in terms of working with and having plans, programs in place to help kids. Now, I don't remember the exact numbers, but when juveniles get arrested, typically they go to the YSA over on Mount Olivet. If I remember correctly, the capacity there is something like 80, 90. And as of a week ago, I think it was like 130 were there. 133. I listened to the deputy mayor talk about how we don't control the juveniles who are there who are being prosecuted by the U.S. attorney. That may be true, but we don't need to keep them at YSA. So where, if I remember correctly, the average stay there is like 2 years. 2 years without programming. So we, the council, passed a bill last year at the request of the Attorney General, made a number of changes to it called the Road Act, which requires planning by DYRS, and they've been fighting this. So on the back end, I have nothing but criticism of the government. At the front end, we're doing a lot of programming, but it's not necessarily as, we could be doing better there. I do want to add, and you look like you're about to take the microphone.
No, go ahead.
Our revenues between last year we had the FY25 budget, that's the year we're finishing up. And our revenues between 24 and 25 went up by $1 billion. $1 billion. And yet the mayor was proposing cuts. We are not being careful. When I say we, the district government is not being careful how it spends its money.
Yeah.
This year, Chief Financial Officer, which I lost, the Chief Financial Officer identified $343 million of additional revenue this year. And when I tried to spend $30 million of it, he blocked me because overspending is over $300 million this year. We budget, you can't spend more than $1 million, and you're spending $2 million or $3 million. And it's inexcusable. So we're going to have some hearings this fall in October, not going to be pleasant, about why we, the government, are not doing a better job with controlling spending. In my view, the CFO needs to not write the check when that agency is overspent. And the council should not approve reprogrammings which shift money around, which then legitimizes the overspending. I've been advised that would be a bad idea if the council disapproved it because it would hurt the annual comprehensive financial report next year, the ACFR. But we've got to stop this overspending. And if we weren't overspending this year by $300 million, that would be $300 million that we could be putting into programs.
All right. Right here, and then Carissa.
I'm Myrtle Washington. You familiar with my face?
Yes, I'm familiar with substitutes.
Right. The demand for substitute teachers is higher than ever in DC and around the country. But when you hear how we are being treated in DC public schools, you will understand why many are leaving DC to work for Maryland and Virginia. One example, on February 27, 2025, substitute teachers learned that we would no longer be paid for 4 school professional development days and would only be paid for 1 district professional development day during pre-service week. We also learned that substitute teachers would only be paid for covering for absent teachers, pre-K aides, and special education aides. For example, if the school did not have a bathroom in the kindergarten classroom, kindergartners would have to go to the bathrooms used by the older children alone. Yes. DCPS keeps trying, despite a lawsuit in 2015, to keep us from, substitute teachers, to keep us from receiving unemployment benefits. We received this email on February 27, 2025, and the changes went into effect on March 1st, 2025. Such disrespect.
Right.
There is more I can tell you, except for time. But I have to tell you this. Recently, the changes to the way substitute teachers were created was so bad, the changes were so bad, the chancellor had to get involved to make amends. Mendelson, we know DC has been hit hard by the president. We've been coming to you for about 7 years. Please help us. We're trying to become members of WTU.
Okay.
Closer now than ever before.
Can you close it?
But we're much needed. We are here to help our children and not hurt them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Response.
I think my response will be fairly brief. I think that DCPS can do much better by the substitute teachers. We need substitute teachers in our schools, and they should be adequately paid.
I can't do Mike, I couldn't find a better.
Bob?
Yeah? Okay, Carissa, next.
So, I'm actually,
Go ahead, you said it, you respond.
I'm happy to follow the substitute teacher question. I have a
Carissa,
question for you about
Ms.
Charles.
Ward and Benita.
So, as you know, about 1 in every 2 or half of our DC kids attend charter schools. And Ward 5 is home to more charter schools than any other ward in the city. There is anxiety around the promised facility allotment and the continuation of that, particularly in a declining economic forecast. You know that charter schools rely on that facility allotment. Talk to us about how the council is thinking about that. What are you planning in regards to that, particularly with the threat of the feds, and particularly in light of a declining economic environment?
So the issue here is that it's been district government policy for years that the charter schools receive a facilities allotment. DCPS does not, but that's because DCPS gets lots of money and support from the Department of General Services. So it's treating the 2 sectors differently but equally. And the facilities allotment for charters is supposed to go up every year by 3%. For the last several years, the council has disagreed with the mayor, who's tried to freeze or eliminate that 3% increase. Last year we restored it, the year before we restored it. This year we were unable to restore it because of the financial situation. I believe we put in the financial plan that the facilities allotment would begin to grow at that 3% in several years. That's in the out years. And I think we actually, the first year of that grows at a higher percentage to try to make up for the couple years that it won't go up. I think this is all wrong. I think the 2 sectors need to be treated equally.
Thank you.
And I see over and over where the executive has, through some budget maneuver, favored DCPS over the charters, and I just think that's wrong. We treat them equally.
Okay. Ms. Queen Ward and then Committeewoman Carmichael.
As a substitute teacher,
Attention, please.
the child comes in and tells the parent that you did something to them. The principal does not come and say anything to you about it. She contacted the police. I was taken out of my classroom, didn't know why. So I don't have a police record, I have a police report. And the girl said that I twisted her wrist. I never twisted her wrist. But the way the system is set up, they said the child is right, and the child knows it, but they'll say, you don't touch me, because if you do, I'm gonna call the police. But anyway, I think, well, I went back to the same school. They said, why are you back here? I sent you for the children. And another thing that you all of us in the community can do, you need to give these children erasers. You know the ones that go on the top of your pencils? By November, they've erased so much that they've used all of that that's on the top of their pencil. So you can give them to any school.
You got a recommendation?
You can give them to any school and donate those to them.
You have a
okay?
recommendation for the chairman?
A recommendation is that, my recommendation is that you continue to do what you're doing and get us in the community involved in the day-to-day kinds of things, like perhaps do some trips for the
All
children.
right. Thank
Or
you.
give us some money to take them on
Thank
trips.
you. Committeewoman Anita Carmichael.
Hi. Good evening, Chairman. So basically Washington DC during the housing crisis, I think that was like back in 2007, they fairly held on to their equity. Some people were impacted, but not like the other states significantly, because Washington DC is unique. So my question is, for you. Are you aware, I had to space it. Are you aware if the Rental Act will focus on ensuring quality assurance to hold landlords accountable for property maintenance, ADA compliance, pest control, sanitation of common areas, and hallways related to general waste and pets, as well as emergency response planning, maintenance of life and safety infrastructure, and crisis management? I know it sounds like a lot, but I just wanted to add.
Sure, it does sound like a lot. No, the Rental Act doesn't touch on any of that. Much of what you're talking about is in the Housing Code, and the Rental Act doesn't make any changes there. The challenge is with enforcement, and enforcement is to the Department of Buildings. We had a hearing a year ago about proactive inspections and actually adopted a law. I'm not sure it's fully funded at this point, but to set forth a requirement, a program for proactive inspections by the Department of Buildings. And just to outline it really briefly, so a building in which there's been a history of violations would be inspected proactively more frequently than a building that rarely has any housing code violations. That actually makes sense. And there are actually some other indicators that direct whether the inspections are frequent or seldom. But this is to be done proactively. So most of our housing code inspections are done reactively. There's mold in your apartment. You call up the city. The inspector comes out, reacts to the complaint. This would be proactive. But we know that this this apartment building has had a history of bad conditions, and so we, Department of Buildings, are going to go out there once a year or every 2 years and do a thorough inspection of the property.
QB here, and then Johnson, and then co-convener. QB?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for being here. I want to go back to the federal takeover.
Yes.
And maybe you have some updated information. What is the plan if they decide not to leave on tomorrow and be extended? What is the plan if we, I believe and others in Congress, continue to try to take home rule for us? The other thing that I would say is, personally, I'm a little disappointed that we have not heard from our Congress people to speak out more about what's happening in the district around them. I've been a lifelong Democrat, but I am very disappointed that we don't know how to fight. We don't know how to fight. I really would like to see the mayor, the attorney general, and you and the council and all other elected officials and all of us residents behind you walk down Pennsylvania Avenue and say, this is what we demand. Because let's face it, a lot of the stuff that's going on is racist.
Yes,
We know this. It's not about crime. You know, when you sit back and you look at the cities, there are black mayors, there are Democratic cities. This has got to stop. And the other thing I feel is that we, as a people, we are letting the Supreme Court off the hooks. We should be writing them. We should be down there on their doorstep. Right? Bringing shame and just talking, because the people in America, a lot of these people not even looking at TV. They don't know what's happening. They got to understand that what's really at stake is that we are going to be losing our democracy when we don't step up. Hakeem Jeffries, Schumer, and all the rest, they're just being too quiet for them.
Next question. Oh, sorry. Respond to QB.
Well, I like your anger, and I like the grass. Seriously, because that is important. I didn't mean that as a joke. That the anger is important, and you mentioned grassroots, and there are a number of grassroots things that could happen. I'm going to repeat what I said earlier because most people haven't thought of this, and that is use social media. And post on TikTok and post on all these things, platforms I don't even know, good things about the district, because we have to get to Trump's base that they see that the truth is that this is a beautiful city instead of the truth being whatever he says. That's important. Now you asked what the plan is, and I can't say that there is a plan, but with regard to these continuing incursions that require congressional action, we, the council, have stepped up our game so that we're going to be much more active, that we have The goal is to have, when these decisions are being made by leadership, but better than that, that we have many more allies who understand the district and will speak out for the district. I mean allies in Congress. I think there's some other strategies going back to grassroots. Back in March when we had the problem with the continuing resolution, the fact that I think it was mostly charter schools, that the kids came down to the Senate and lobbied. I think kids can be very powerful, and you know the children's, what was it, the children's demonstrations in Birmingham. So I think that could be a very powerful strategy. With regard to tomorrow, the emergency looks like it's going to be lifted, not continued. That's a good thing. I think we're going to see. I'm not clear what we're going to see, because there's a difference between what the law requires, which is that MPD has to respond to whatever the federal law enforcement wants, and what will actually happen. I know that the mayor very much resents, as does everybody on the council, the ICE, all the ICE stuff that's going on, and as well resents the National Guard. We can't kick the National Guard out. And we can't kick ICE out, but we don't have to cooperate with them. I think we're going to see that there'll be it will not be so obvious what the transition is, but we will see a transition. I do know one of the concerns the mayor has, the president made all this noise about crime, and the reality is that during the surge, the number of carjackings went from something like 80 a year ago to 18. I mean, it's a significant drop. And as soon as all this is over, will we see an increase? We don't want to see an increase. So I know that is a concern of the mayor. Okay. But our plan is to step up our game with Congress.
Right here. No, right here, Eddie, Mama Joe, and I'm coming back this way.
I'm Miss Martin, and my question to you is, we keep saying kids, and we keep saying we fund all these programs, but the programs that you're funding is the programs that's in the cliques. And the cliques is the same kids get the same services, and the kids do not get the services that really need it. So I have a big problem with that. When y'all say the carjackings and all this stuff, you let them out of DYS without no re-entry program. And when they're in there, they don't get no services, they get abused. And so we need to talk facts. I mean, you're running, Parker running, Anita running. I need to know, what are you going to do different for our children, because they my kids.
That's right now.
And if you're not going to do anything with your leadership of DYS, then we're going to continue to see the problem. It's not because the police is there, because they're still carjacking. Because 2 weeks ago, my cousin got killed in Maryland by 5 juveniles that carjacked the car and crashed into her on MLK. So, I mean, if we're going to talk facts, let's talk facts in the room. It's not all just the kids, it's us. It's us, and it's what we allowing. You got the incredible messages with all this money, but they serve their hoods. And come out your hood, and let's service our kids. If we're gonna do it right, we're gonna do it right.
All right.
Well, I don't think the violence interruption programs have been very well run, and I don't think they're very effective. Now, the Attorney General had to cure the streets, which, as far as I could tell, was much more effective than what was coming out of the Office of Neighborhood Safety Engagement. I think there's a lot better job that the government can do with regard to violence interruption. I already spoke to the programming for kids who end up in DYRS. I do not understand why the executive is resistant to doing planning and programming, why the executive can't figure out how to better handle the population, because we don't need, it is counterproductive to have kids at YSA for months with no programming whatsoever. So I'm with you that the programming sucks.
But I'm gonna answer it for you.
Right.
If you did the background on them, you know they did this in Maryland, and you brought them right here to do it to our kids. That's the problem.
All right. Eddie, recommendation. Question.
Key observation. Land development is the primary source of economic development, not only here in America, but on the planet.
Can't hear you.
Land development is the primary source of economic development across the planet. All the major contracts you can imagine come out of these land development projects. Cool, thank you, sir. The largest source of income, jobs and contracts is land development. Here we have Providence Hospital that is going to spend $1 billion and made no commitment to buy anything from minority firms in this community. And the same thing is true with this massive development, which is billions of dollars. There are no commitments to buy goods and services from African American firms. That's where we need to institute more evidence and innovation in our local leadership. So I recommend more of us speak out, especially in Providence.
All right. Thank you, Eddie. Hold that for me. I appreciate it. Come back to you. Mama Joe,
Lost your chance.
you gave your dissertation, so I'm waiting for your recommendation. Mama Joe? Mama Joe?
Well, I'll say this. So
Go ahead.
I've not been involved with the Providence Hospital development, and that development is not coming before the council. So we do have laws in place about CBE participation. Whether those are enforced as well as they should be, I'm not going to defend them because I think we could do better. With RFK, we do have CBE requirements, local business requirements, which is a little bit different, minority business requirements. So there's been a lot of attention with regard to the RFK development.
We will make one recommendation for the Economic Development Committee.
Sure.
Chairman, next 72 hours, we want a meeting with Kenny McDuffie, which has the Economic Development Committee. Where's Deetra, our chairman of Ward 5 Leadership? Facilitate that meeting for us, please, Mr. Chairman. Please, thank you.
It's hard for me to, it's
Mr.
hard
Chairman,
for
we don't
me
respond to
to
that.
schedule for another council
I know,
member.
but you can work on that. That's your chairman pro tem.
Yes,
Both of y'all are
I
gonna be
certainly
running, and we're gonna be standing. Where's my quarterback? Over here. My quarterback gonna be standing, blocking the least path of resistance. Mama Joe,
There's not an RFP for RFK.
here's Mama Joe, and then the co-convener. If y'all don't know Mama Joe,
No,
she
no.
runs the
Yes.
center that everybody been talking about. Run it out of her pocketbook. Go ahead, Mama Joe.
Hello, Phil.
Good afternoon.
I'm gonna start off first with thanking everyone.
Use your outside voice, Mama Joe.
Okay. Okay. Take your time. No, it's very painful, because I want to start with first. Almost a year ago, the council voted unanimously
Put the mic in front, you can hear you.
for Parent Watch to get their funding. And I think this lady said about standing. You need to stand for that, for the beginning. And then I heard you list all of these agencies, Seesaw, pretrial, all these people. Not one time have you knowing that I'm over there struggling with Parent Watch. And you mentioned supporting Parent Watch. Before you got here, mostly everyone on here, a couple of people came up and said we're gonna get money. So what I want to say to you is that I am 74, and I've been over there working since the transformation of Oak Hill, Cedar Lawn, and I'm going to keep it short. I wrote you a note saying you need to do something about that leadership over there. You can guarantee on me that 99% of everything that I bring to y'all and tell y'all is true to fact. Every time a new director comes, they try to remove Parent Watch. And I don't feel like going out galvanizing everybody again to fight y'all. I'm asking you, first of all, every council member that voted for me to get my funding should be knocking some doors down and kicking doors down.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of our children, DCPS and all out these different facilities are the feeders field into YSC. The only way we're gonna help those children is we need voices. Everyone in here sitting there, I'm over there by myself, healing you. And we got therapists, clinicians making 6 figures, and they don't even know how to talk to our kids. That's right. So I'm over there all day and all night, and you need to pick the phone up and call, what's his name? Sam Abed, Miss Lyles, and Wallace take their hands off of Parent Watch, because that's something you know that is a guarantee that the work we do to save the children over there. And they're gonna try to harness me, so I can't call and tell you what's going on. I can't tell the community what's going on. I called Bob, told Bob,
So I'm saying, that you pick that phone and tell, stop playing with Parent Watch. You know that I'm over there.
Okay. Mama Joe, what do you want him to do? Give him a
But I
homework.
just told
Give him
him.
assignment. You got a recommendation for him?
He know what I'm saying, I'm writing home.
Yeah, give him something to do.
So I think Parent Watch does good work.
Coming back.
The department needs to respect and allow Parent Watch to do its work. I think a big problem with DYRS, and I'm going to be careful how I say this, is not so much the director, but who is directing the director.
Ooh!
I have spoken to the mayor about that. In the end, the council does not hire or fire. We do confirm, and we do confirm, I'm trying to remember, I'm confusing with the one's office, where I did not vote for that confirmation.
It's not the director, but really,
Yeah.
we gotta just talk about it.
Well, you'll get an email from me. It's coming.
Okay.
Okay.
Pierpont. You can calm it down a little
I have to
bit.
be mindful of time.
You got time.
Well, I'm supposed to be somewhere.
I think you leave these people out there. They got some
I
questions.
told you I was good until
You better
7.
tell the folks where you're going. You got to hold up.
Okay, I'll say several things, real quick, and I'll ask a question. One is that many years ago, they had a guy here that said that if we want to change something, we need to agitate. That's agitate. Guy named Frederick Jefferson.
I'm trying to.
Here's my question. I'm talking about all these things. But long ago, I was coming up, we had some schools at night. And those schools at night stopped me from going to jail. And stopped a lot of us. Seriously. The crime issue that we have in D.C., it's no joke. That is that we do a lot trying to be proactive in terms of talking to 10, 15, 12, 25 young people. That ain't the issue. The issue is we got to come up with some programs. Maybe something at night school, that I went to when I was 16, because I was desperate. I wasn't going to jail. And all my peers were laughing at me. Gave me the blues. But the bottom line was that it created an environment that stops all this crime. And the sister right here, she been doing that, she been working down there with these kids, these young people. The attitudes, I even substituted in school system. The attitudes of some of these young kids and some of the young ladies. Come on, they're parents.
Give them something to do, Brother Pierpont.
They got to do something, man. So,
Give them a recommendation,
So my
Pierpont.
recommendation here is that maybe we can come up with some money for the sole purpose by ward to come up with some type of extracurricular activity in the evening. So we can take these young people, not only looking at TV and not using this little thing in their hand, but they can learn something from all the folks, everybody here, we ought to volunteer to go in and try to come up with something to stop the crime and the attitude of these young people.
All right.
Well, I'm going to push back a little bit because we have programs. And the fact that you're saying we need programs says to me that we're not doing a very good job of advertising the programs. Now, when I say we, I don't mean me or the council, but I mean the Department of Recreation, DCPS, the Deputy Mayor for Education, because out of school time programming comes out of the Deputy Mayor for Education. We have programs. And I said before, we could do a better job. And the fact that you're asking that question says to me, for sure we could do a better job. But I'll add something else. And that is, for years, I have been pushing for the school systems, charters included, to reduce truancy. Now, we think of that in educational terms, but it has a public safety component to it. Kids who are truant, unexcused absences, let me finish this. Kids who are truant with unexcused absences are giving us a warning signal that they're at risk of getting into the juvenile justice system. It's not criminal to be truant. I'm not saying it should be criminal, but it is an indicator, and we, the government, are doing a piss poor job.
We got about 15
responding.
more minutes before we get out of here, Mr. Chairman. Got a lot of folks, 100 fathers. Let's shoot it. Coming back on the back here.
That we need to hit more home on the biggest thing that we don't talk about, which is recovery enough. Because the drug and HIV epidemic wasn't that long ago. Then we had COVID, and we're still in extra recovery. So I think we really need to understand that a lot of these incidents we're having are psychological impacts. And we really need to target crisis management harder, because that also speaks to your workforce, whether you're private sector or whether you're government. We'll see a lot more better outcomes than what we're seeing now.
All right.
Because COVID still exists.
All right, thank you. Final question from the co-convener.
Final question.
Go ahead.
Oh, Anna. And then we have to have, then we're going to ask Eddie Johnson to do it.
We don't, not now, that's the final question. And you got a final question here?
I defer to Anna.
Hold. Go ahead. Let me have your attention.
We could have quiet.
We wonder why the children are not respectful.
They're getting food now. All right. They're eating now. Go and ask your question. Go ahead. That's all right, Taylor. Ask your question.
Sanitize over here and sanitize over here. So my question is, this is just honor, not at my job. I do work for government. I'm education. When is the government, and I'm talking about all council, the mayor, going to give the guidance for our children? Because they have not given the guidance. And when we say truancy, if we don't give that guidance, you are putting families at risk to go to school. That's why our truancy numbers are high right now. Because I don't know if my child goes to school, fair invasion. I don't know if my child goes to school, I might be taken. So I want to know, when is the government going to give the guidance?
I assume you're talking about guidance regarding immigration enforcement. So the chancellor has, I can't speak to the charter sector, but the chancellor has spoken with principals and in schools with a higher number of immigrant students, has met with, or his senior leadership has met with the senior staff in those schools. In addition, the Attorney General has on their website guidance with regard to how to respond if ICE were to show up at a school. I admit that this situation is confusing to a lot of folks because it is very anxiety producing, because it's just wrong what's happening. ICE is terrorizing our communities. And what I'm seeing that I think is actually a good thing is that neighbors, whether it's fellow parents or neighborhood neighbors, are actually coming forward and helping with some of these families. But ICE as far as I can tell, operates by stealth. Again, the guidance though, the chancellor, I've talked to the chancellor about this, the chancellor has met with principals, and the chancellor has given more attention to those schools with the highest immigrant populations. Thank you all very much. I have to run to another event.
Let's give the chairman a... Thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate it, Patty.
Thank you for watching this PIC TV Network special presentation. We hope that the insightful content provided valuable information and entertainment to our esteemed viewers. Your support and viewership are essential to the success of our network. To make a donation, go to watchpictv.com or scan the PIC TV QR code. Help us build the PIC TV Studio World Training Center.